Hello, Dazzle. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me today. I'm glad that you're here. So, today I want to talk about imposter syndrome and some of the ways that you can manage the symptoms to achieve success in your life while maintaining a healthy work life balance. So, imposter syndrome is the persistent inability to believe that one's success is deserved or has been legitimately achieved as a result of one's own efforts or skills. And that definition is from the Oxford Dictionary. The first thing to understand about imposter syndrome is that this is a cognitive distortion. It's important to know that because addressing imposter syndrome requires that you address the distortion. When a person has cognitive distortion, it means that they have chronic thought patterns that lead them to inaccurately interpret events, the behaviors of others, and their own personal disposition in a negative way. Something to understand about cognitive distortions is that they're really common. In fact, they are something that every single person deals with. There are many kinds of cognitive distortions, and this means that it is a part of the human experience to have them. In fact, imposter syndrome is one of the most common, with 82% of people having this experience. So the first thing here is to give yourself some grace. Know that you are not the only person struggling with these feelings. Me too. Most of us are. So focus on the facts. Imposter syndrome is a little imp sitting on your shoulder telling you lies. The single most important thing that you can do to lessen its effect in your life is to ensure that you're properly parsing out facts and opinions. Facts are things that are concrete and provable. Opinions are views or judgments formed about something, and they're not necessarily based on fact or knowledge. It's always essential that we ask ourselves if something is a fact or an opinion, whether that's coming from us or someone else. If something is an opinion, it shouldn't be given a large amount of weight in the manner that you proceed in your life. After all, for every opinion, there is someone who holds an opposing opinion. This means that if your mind presents you with, "I don't deserve this job," it is important to know that it is an opinion and that it is likely that there are people who hold the opposing opinion, that you do deserve the job. However, things like "I have a BSN and I have 20 years of nursing experience" are facts. Regardless of the things that the little imposter imp tells me, these are qualifications that I do in fact have. And using these facts should carry more value when moving forward on a decision than any opinion. So here are some statements that can never be a fact. They're always an opinion. You are an imposter. You don't work hard enough. Someone else would be better for the job. All opinions. So validate your feelings. Regardless of what the facts are telling us, we can have feelings of inadequacy and anxiety. No matter what you're feeling, when you are considering a job or you're going to work for the day or you're interacting with other people, make sure that you're giving those feelings time and space to exist. Allow yourself to feel whatever it is that you're feeling. It's not right or wrong to have whatever feeling you're having, but also remind yourself that your feelings do not shape or change reality. Being anxious about being late doesn't mean that you are in fact going to be late. It just means that you're having anxiety. Validate your feelings, but don't allow them to dictate your reality. Then it's time to catalog your inner rules. Cognitive distortions include assumptions and rules that we hold dearly or have decided to live by. And sometimes these rules or assumptions help us to stick to our values or our moral codes, but often they can limit and frustrate us. And it makes it important to really examine those assumptions and rules. And this requires really careful self-consideration of not only what we do and what we feel, but also why we're doing it and feeling it. When we know what assumptions and rules we're living by, we become empowered to rewrite them. Great idea, right? But what does it look like in practice? So I'm very aware of the fact that I can't know everything that there is to know in the world of the nursing knowledge. And because of that, I assumed that I didn't know enough to be a good nurse. Knowing that this assumption was the driving force behind most of my performance anxiety, I was able to address it. This was done by constantly reminding myself that all the amazing nurses that I admire also don't know everything. It's also done by reminding myself of the principles of expertise, which in no way expect a person to know everything in a field. Lastly, I remind myself of the factual evidence of my expertise. I have a BSN. I have an RN licensure. I have 20 years of experience, and I have 2 nursing certification. Those are facts. So we should challenge and reframe our thoughts. When our brains present us a thought like, it was only luck that I got this job, or I'm lucky to have this job, we can choose to accept the thought, or we can choose to challenge and reframe that thought. Reframing the thought could look like, I feel lucky to have this job. When we attribute our success to luck, we are ignoring all the things that we did in order to achieve that success. But when we reframe that thought to a feeling, we are no longer attributing our success to luck, and we're now just stating how we feel. And it's highly doubtful that you did nothing to get that job. So you can challenge this thought with the question, was it luck? Luck is success or failure arbitrarily brought by chance rather than through one's own actions or efforts. But you applied for that job, and that's an action that you took that led to you getting that job. Then you went to an interview, and you performed there well enough that they chose you above all the other candidates. Again, that is something that you did rather than something that just happened to you. There were likely educational or experiential requirements for that job that you met, and those are things that you did. Jobs are not given to people by chance. They take action. You have to do things to get a job. Thus, getting a job is not about luck, but about actions that you took in your life. You can also choose to put your thoughts on trial. If you're really struggling with particular thoughts, you can put them on trial. This is an exercise that can help you really look at and consider a thought. Write out the thought on the top of a paper. Then in one column, put the defense or all the evidence for the thought being true or valid. Then in the other column, put the prosecution or all the evidence for the thought being untrue or invalid. Then play judge. After considering all of the evidence, does the thought still seem to be true? It can be helpful to ask someone you trust to help with this exercise. Getting an outside perspective on the thought can often help clarify whether that thought is an opinion or a fact. It can also help to know that others do not view us in the same fashion that we're viewing ourselves. And this means that whatever the imposter imp is telling you, it is likely that those around us have varied and different opinions than the one being expressed by the little imp. This is just the nature of human divergence. So you can also try a personal SWOT analysis. When considering a new job or paths for career growth, a personal SWOT analysis can be helpful. However, explaining how that works is rather complex, and there's already a great guide that you can check out. I'll include it in the description. A link will be there for you. Click it. The basic idea is that you're comparing your personal strengths against your personal weaknesses. And the goal is for you to better capitalize on and use your strengths. And to also be able to compensate or shore up, get better at the things that you're weak in. And it also looks at your opportunities and compares them to the threats. This is about evaluating the advantages and disadvantages to any particular field or advancement choice that you might make. And this exercise can help you stay focused on the facts of a given situation. Because the biggest challenge with imposter syndrome is that imp is going to be always telling you lies. But there are times in our lives that we aren't yet qualified, or that there's a lot of risk to taking a particular position. There are times in life that we should turn down opportunities that are offered to us. And this tool can help parse out when it's really time to pass on something versus when it is just that imposter imp being a jerk. And remember to give yourself praise. Whenever you have accomplished something, no matter how small, be sure to take a moment to praise yourself for that accomplishment. The praise that we give ourselves will carry far more weight in our lives than the praise given by any other person. Even if your emotions are telling you that this accomplishment is not worthy of praise, be sure to give it to yourself. Do it in writing or verbally. When we manifest a thing outside of our mind, we believe it to be more real. Well, that's about it for my rambling today. Thanks for coming and spending some time with me. If you like the rambling, then click on the like button. It really does help. And until we talk again, you guys be sure to take care of yourselves. Bye!